Like a lot of people, I was floored when I read the headlines last month that Uber and Lyft were settling a wage theft lawsuit for nearly $330 million. That's a mind-boggling number. And it really made me ask myself how widespread this issue is, really. So I started researching. And let me just say, the conclusion has got me pretty pissed off. If I asked you what the most common type of theft is, you might say it's shoplifting in small businesses, or maybe it's home larcenies, or robbing banks, or maybe catalytic converters in your neighborhood. And, certainly if you spend any time watching the news, you'll hear quite a few of those stories. And rightly so. Nobody likes to have things stolen from them. It hurts our small businesses, it hurts our communities, and it hurts our economy in general. But to my own shock, it's actually none of those things. Instead, it's actually wage theft. Nearly $40 billion every single year. Literally stolen from the pockets of workers. Compared to just $13 billion total for all other kinds of theft, including robbery, auto theft, and larceny. So then we have to define what is wage theft and how does it happen? Wage theft happens when an employer fails to provide full compensation or benefits owed to an employee, as guaranteed by either contract or law. So in other words, it's just when an employer doesn't pay a worker some or all of what they're due, both in wages and benefits. Just a few examples are employers paying less than the minimum wage, not paying workers for all the time they work, not paying overtime wages, time and a half, misclassifying workers as part-time employees when they're consistently working full-time hours, not following through on promised bonuses or vacations, not reimbursing business expenses, withholding tips. It's surprisingly common in the United States. It affects workers across all income levels, but it's most commonly associated with lower income positions and the service industry. One of the most comprehensive studies I found on wage theft comes from Rutgers University from August of 2023. It shows that minimum wage violations cost individual workers in Texas nearly $4,000 per year on average, and over $12 billion in aggregate over the last 14 years. That is up to a third of their annual income. Think about what that $4,000 every year could do for minimum wage workers in Texas. And remember that the violations disproportionately harm the workers who need that money the most. Talking about immigrants, women, Latinx and Asian workers, younger workers under 25, older workers over 65, those with less education, workers with children, ununionized workers, and gig workers. So why do we treat wage theft so differently from other kinds of theft? Look, economics is how we justify who gets what and why. Wage theft is a problem that affects workers with less power in their workplaces. You would very likely call the police if someone broke into your house in the middle of the night. But if you work paycheck to paycheck, you are less likely to report your boss for making you work through lunch every single day, because you could lose your steady source of income. It's like I said at the beginning, it sucks when someone steals from you. And if you're a victim of wage theft, the systems that help you aren't in place the way they are for other kinds of theft. This is a systemic problem, and it's really hard to individually fight systemic problems. We need leaders to create systems to make it safe and easy to report wage theft, hold employers accountable for their theft with huge fines and other punishments, and to prevent bosses from stealing wages in the first place.